Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our English
Morning.
webinar series.
Morning.
Welcome to our English webinar series with English native speaker. This program is held by Stasia Language Center. Will begin in just a few minutes. My name is Muhammad Faisal and our host for today. We are very excited because we have a special guest with
TK Surabaya merupakan salah satu kampus unggulan dengan urutan ke-78 klasterisasi perguruan tinggi se-Indonesia.
Dengan akreditasi A pada proyek 1 akuntansi dan manajemen dan didukung juga loh oleh dosen berpengalaman lulusan dari dalam maupun luar negeri.
Dan fasilitas memadai yang dapat mendukung proses perkuliahan menjadi lebih efektif dan efisien.
Banyak kesempatan beasiswa yang kalian dapatkan saat kuliah di Stasia Surabaya. Jadi, tunggu apa lagi?
Kita daftarkan diri TK Surabaya.
Tentukan arah masa depan bersama kami.
TK Surabaya merupakan salah satu kampus unggulan dengan urutan ke-78 klasterisasi perguruan tinggi se-Indonesia.
Dengan akreditasi A pada proyek 1 akuntansi dan manajemen dan didukung juga loh oleh dosen berpengalaman lulusan dari dalam maupun luar negeri.
Dan fasilitas memadai yang dapat mendukung proses perkuliahan menjadi lebih efektif dan efisien.
Good morning.
Banyak kesempatan beasiswa yang kalian dapatkan saat kuliah di Stasia Surabaya. Jadi, tunggu apa lagi?
Kita daftarkan diri TK Surabaya.
Tentukan arah masa depan bersama kami.
Okay, Nazrila, please start the webinar. Nazrila, you here?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our English webinar series with English native speaker. This program is held by Stasia Language Center. We will begin in just a few minutes. My name is Nazriela Ferizara, and I'm your host for today. I hope you are all excited to learn. Today's topic is business introduction in the workplace. We are joined by Mr. Daniel Arsenault, a native speaker from America, who will share valuable insight about making professional introduction in various office settings. To all participants, please be active in the chat. This is your chance to practice with a native speaker. Before we dive into our main topic, let me lead you through our agenda for today's session. First, we will begin with a short opening followed by singing Indonesia Raya. Following that, we will have a 10 minutes information session led by Nanis Tiorini, SPD, MPD, PSD, the head of Stasia Language Center. At 10:30 a.m., we will move to the core of our webinar, the topic presented by our guest speaker, Mr. Daniel Arsenault. After the presentation, we will have dedicated 30 minutes for a question and answer session moderated by Mr. Faisal MPD. One of the English lecture at Stasia. We plan to wrap up the entire session by 11:50 a.m. Moving on to our next segment, ladies and gentlemen, to start our agenda, we will sing now our national anthem, Indonesia Raya. We will be singing the one stanza version. To those at home or on campus, please sit or stand respectfully as the music plays. I will now hand over to our admin to play the national anthem.
Yeah. Still unmute, Nazrila. Please unmute your voice, Nazrila.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Let's continue with our program. Moving right along, our next item on agenda is Stasia Language Center Information Season. To give us more insight into the program and support available to you, I would like to invite Nani Stiorini, SPD, MPD, PhD, the head of Stasia Language Center, to deliver the information season. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much, my students, and welcome, Pak Daniel. Thank you very much for your time today. I just would like to open this webinar for about maybe less than 5 minutes. So I would like to show my students once again to remind you how English is very important today, because English language proficiency can support your success in the future. Yeah. At this moment, based on my profession as a lecturer, I know that there is a gap, yeah, employability gap between higher education and Indonesian job market. So many employers complain that higher education graduates could not provide adequate employability skills. Yeah. One of them is in relation to soft skills. Soft skills relate to your personality, your communication skills. Yeah. Yeah, Stasia students, they say that the Stasia students have good hard skills, for example, accountant and etc. But they are lack of English language competence. So that's why now we provide you with the kinds of webinar series to support you. And today we are glad that there will be Mr. Daniel to inform about how to develop your introduction during in the workplace in the future. Yeah. I just would like to share my research in relation to hard skill. I mean the soft skills. Yeah, what kind of soft skills that the employers say to us. Of course, communication is the higher need today because while the communication will help your hard skill. Yeah, this is a point for Stasia students. Your fundamental skills today is not only about accountancy or management, but you also have to explore or articulate your numeracy, yeah, and then you have to be competent in communicate what is the numbers are. This is what I got from the research. I mean the gaps, yeah, communication. It should be the middle or the bridge between you and the workplace in the future. So that's why I invite Mr. Daniel today to help you. Well, you can learn on how to introduce in the workplace. I wish you are able to understand, for example, the formality and informality of business introduction, and then how to speak in the future with your clients during the formal meetings and also semi-formal meetings, for example, and how you. I wish you also can understand how to introduce you yourself with your boss, with other people, with other colleagues in the workplace, and then you know how to well introduce others to people, yeah. And then perhaps Pak Daniel will also explain a little bit about Western norms that need you understand. For example, eye contact, handshakes, very important. Yeah. All right, I will not talk much. I just would like to remind my students today, yeah, you need technical theory, you need hard skills, and you also need communication to add your business value in the future. Yeah. Thank you very much for your joining us, joining the webinar today. And now I give to the Nazrila again as the MC, and then Pak Faisal will help for the main event today, that is the speaker, English native speaker, Mr. Daniel. See you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nanis, for that valuable information about the Language Center programs. Now it is time for the main event. We are joined today by our guest speaker, Mr. Daniel Arsenault. By the end of this season, you will be able to understand how to introduce others in the workplace with proper etiquette. Please prepare your notes and stay engaged. Mr. Daniel Arsenault, we are ready when you are.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mbak Nazriela. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Faisal, Miss
Okay, it's nice to
Nazila.
see you
Miss
again,
Nasi-
right?
Nice to see you. It's been a long time. Yes.
Okay, before we go to our main session, your presentation, I'd like to introduce Daniel. He is one of English teachers, and we are incredibly lucky to have him as our speaker today. So please give a warm virtual welcome to Daniel. Okay, Daniel, time is yours. Do you want? Okay. Daniel, can you unmute yourself? Okay, thank you.
There you go. Yes. All right. So let me just find my. There you go. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It's really lovely to be here with you all. Let me introduce myself. My name is Daniel Arsenault, and I come from Canada, actually, not from America. I'm from Canada. And today I was asked to talk to you about how to initiate meetings and how to talk with people that you've just met, really, which is, like it's been said before, a very, very important skill. You show up at an interview at a company, you were hired for your skills as an accountant, as a manager, as whatever, but the way you fit in that environment will depend on how you can communicate with others. And that's a very, very important skill to have. So that's why we are talking about this today. So let's get started. First of all, I'd like you all to think here about these two questions. First of all, how often do you have meetings or events in English? Meaning, how often do you have to meet other people in English? And the second question is, what do you find difficult about meeting new people? So I'd like you all to think about these two, and please, if you may, send some using the chat, if it's at all possible. Please send your comments. Let me just confirm that it is possible, Mr. Faisal. It is possible for the participant to send chats, right?
Okay. Excuse me, Daniel, could you repeat once again?
Yes. I'm asking, is it possible for the students or to the participants to send questions using the chat?
Yes.
Okay, it's possible. Yes.
Okay, so yes, please. I'd like you all the participants here, to look at the two questions on the board, and please send me your answers to these two. How often do you have meetings in English, and what do you find difficult about meeting new people? If you could please send me your answers on these on the chat so I can have a read and see what's out there. Okay.
Or maybe I would like to add about Daniel questions. Yeah, how often do you have meetings or events in English? It means that in a week, how many times you get in English, for example? Is it
Or
like 1 day or 1 hour? Or two?
okay, or maybe it's never happened. Maybe you never had a meeting with people in English, and that's okay too. It might happen in the future. But the second question, what do you find difficult about meeting new people? So, I mean, I may ask Mr. Faisal, I'll ask you personally right now. For you, how often do you have meetings in English, Mr. Faisal?
In a week?
Well, weekly
A
or
day.
monthly? Yeah.
Okay, of course, because I'm an English lecturer here. About in a day, it's about 5 to 10 hours.
That you meet people in English, right?
We have a class, of course.
Okay, I
In
see.
class, yeah.
Okay, and when you meet new people, Mr. Faisal, what do you find the most difficult about meeting new people who do not speak Bahasa?
If we met each other, it's very difficult to encourage our students to speak in English, of course.
Okay, but for you as a person,
Mhm.
when you meet someone new, what's one element that you find very difficult?
Difficult to engage with them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anything? No?
Fear, shy to start to speak.
Okay.
Mhm. And
Yeah, go on.
because we shy to speak, it means that we do not know what to do first. We do not know the topic that we need to start.
So it's difficult to know what are things can and
Yeah.
cannot say. Right. Well, we're going to talk about this, but first I want to start with something fun here. How do you greet someone in English, and how can you introduce yourself? Now, very often, obviously, if you introduce yourself, this might be your first meeting with the person you're talking to. And as they say, first impressions are very important. So what could you do to make sure you do not make mistakes in that first meeting? Let's start with a little thing there. We're going to watch a video of different people meeting meeting different people and how they introduce one another. Okay, so what I want you to listen for, listen for different kinds of greetings. You may write them down or you may type them on the chat, okay? Because I'll be looking at the chat live as we're having this. So you can write them on the chat. Listen for different kinds of greetings. What do people say when they first meet? A greeting is when you say hello, hi, afternoon. What are different kinds of greetings? Okay. And secondly, listen for different ways of introducing yourself and others. Okay. So I'm going to play the video now and listen for different kind of greetings and different ways of introducing yourself or others. Okay, here we go.
Yes?
Hi, is Rachel here? I'm her sister.
Oh my God, Jill!
Oh my God, Rachel!
Hi!
Oh my God, introduce us.
Well, this is Chandler.
Hi.
And you know Monica and Ross. And that's Phoebe, and that's Joey.
Hey, how you doing?
Don't!
This is my father, Paul Stevens. Dad, this is Ross Geller.
It's great to meet you, Paul.
I usually prefer Liz's boyfriends who address me as Mr. Stevens.
Well, of course, Mr. Stevens.
Yeah. So, Ross, what's your problem?
Excuse me?
Hey, everybody. I'd like you to meet Janine. She's going to be my new roommate. Hi.
Hi.
And she's going to live with me.
It's nice to meet you, Janine Lacroix. Janine Lacroix.
I didn't know that. Well, what a pretty last name. So, where are you from?
Australia. I just moved here a couple of weeks ago.
From the land down under?
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. So, what do you do?
I'm a dancer.
You're a dancer? She's a dancer.
Well, I think I'll go and unpack.
All right. So we saw. I hope you're all familiar with the show Friends. This is a show that was very famous in the 90s, I think 80s or 90s, and it's a very funny show. But people in these two or three scenes greeted one another using some language, and they introduced one another using some language. Did anybody get any of this? I'm getting nothing on the chat so far. Nobody is writing on the chat. Is it just that I've got the wrong window or I'm not seeing anything? So I asked you to write me the greetings and introductions that you see on the chat, but that's not happened. So we'll move on. Okay. So let's have a look at some of the greetings that they've used. All right. So hi, is Rachel here? Okay, hi is okay. It's a nice informal way to meet. Then we got Joey says, hey, how you doing? Quite informal. And then we got Ross saying, it's great to meet you, Paul. To which Paul then says, I would prefer you call me Mr. Somebody says, hey, everybody. It's nice to meet you. Okay. Let's look at the introductions now. This is Chandler. When you introduce someone, this is Chandler. Oh, and you know Monica and Ross. So sometimes people already know one another, but you have to make sure, and that is Phoebe, and that's Joey. So this is somebody who's closer to you. That is you pointing at somebody in the distance. That's Phoebe, and that's Joey. Okay. This is my father, Paul Stevens. Okay. Then Dad, this is my boyfriend, Ross Geller. So this is, and you see, this is the president of the company. This is my lecturer. And then you say the name. And Mr. and Mrs. So this is a student, blah, 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 like that. And I'd like you to meet Janine. I would like you to meet. So when you introduce someone to others, I would like you to meet someone else. So these are different types of greetings and introductions that we have. Most of these are rather informal. Okay. Most of these are rather informal, but nonetheless, depending on the setting, they can be used. Now let's have a look. We're going to try to match a few things here. Okay. Based on that video but based on other things, I've got some ways, because when you introduce yourself, quite often it's important not just to give your name, but to say who you are, to say why you're here, to say what department you're in, and so on. So therefore, we've got some 6 openings here. Can somebody match number 1 with one of the endings? Can you please write your answers, please? You can send me in the chat. Send me your answer in the chat. What matches with this one?
Yeah. Excuse me. Hello, everybody. Please open your camera and then try to answer. Please try. Please answer Mr. Daniel's questions, please.
We've got some people who are very shy here today. That's not very difficult. If you look at If you look at the beginning of the sentence, does everyone, what would complete that sentence?
Okay. Alia,
Yes,
perhaps?
there you go. We got Randy and Andy and Octavia. Yes, the answer is D. So does everyone, that's correct. Does everyone know Daniel Arsenault? So sometimes maybe you're meeting different people and somebody's well known. Maybe he's the president of the company, or maybe he's just somebody. And then you'll just make sure, does everybody know? And you make sure that that person, like we all know Mr. Faisal. So if I was meeting, I would say, oh, does everyone know Mr. Faisal? And if you do, then obviously you acknowledge. And if you don't, well, now you do know Mr. Faisal. Example. Okay? So that would be the answer to one. How about the answer to two? We got, okay, we got some answers here. 2A, I've been at this company for years. Yeah. There you go. We got the answer here. Yeah. Yeah. So when you introduce yourself, very often you'll have to say how long you've been working there, what department you work in, what do you do there. So I've been at this company for 2 years. I've been at this company, you could use since, also since 2002 if you could. For 2 years, since 2002, both of them would work well. Tell us a little. Number 3. Yeah, we got that. We got some answer from Andy. We got some answers. Yes, thank you. Tell us a little about yourself. So perhaps when you have somebody new who works in your company, or somebody joins your department and you want to introduce them to the rest of the team, you could start by saying, tell us a little bit about yourself. So they could say, well, okay, my name is Danielle, and I've been at this company for 3 days, but previously I've worked, and so on. And you talk a bit about yourself. So that's a way to ask people to tell you or your team about themselves. Then we got number 4. Why don't you introduce us? Why don't you introduce 4 yourself to everyone? Yeah, there you go. Rob, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone? That's another way to try to get someone new to tell us about themselves. Hello, everybody. I'd like you to meet Rob. Rob, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone? And when somebody says that to you, you would say, oh, hello, everyone. My name is Danielle. I'm an English teacher, and I've been working on and off with Stesia for the last 6 or 7 years, and so on. And you would go that way. All right? Give a little bit about yourself. Then we got number 5. When you talk about what you've done or where you're at. I was a salesman for Unilever for 2 years. There you go. So you talk about your past jobs. You can use the past tense in this case. You're not that anymore, but you were that for 2 years. Okay. So you use the past simple here to say about things that are no longer true, but you'll be using, as we said earlier, the present perfect to talk about things that are still true. Okay. And finally, if you talk about someone, Joe joined us 2 months ago, and then you'll talk about his job as our head of PR. So when you introduce someone, very often you want to tell the people that you're introducing him to about that person's job. What are they doing here? Okay, very well. Thank you very much for participating, everyone. I got some really good answers on most of these. Excellent, excellent. All right. So these are some things that you can say when you either introduce yourself or when you introduce someone else. Okay. So these are some things some language that we can use. Now, I'd like to ask you to listen to a conversation. People introduce one another. Oh, sorry. We got the answers here. There you go. Right. All right. Now I'm going to play the recording first, but before I play the recording, have a look at this little setup here. And I'd like you to try to imagine what words are going in there. So please, you can again try to send me on the chat. Number 1, nice to meet you again. How are you? That makes a lot of sense, Claudia. Very good. What would go at number 2? Can anybody tell me? I'm fine, thanks. And you? Excellent. Yes, that's good. That works. Number 3, what would be number 3? Well, that could be I'm fine as well. Yeah. I'm good. Thank you. And you? That could work. I'm good. Thank you. But then that finishes with thank you. But yeah, okay. How about number 4? Anybody for number 4? Blah, blah, blah. You, my colleague, Juliet Strauss. What would go there? Anybody? No worries. How about number 5? Hello, I'm George Frank. Blah, blah, blah to meet you. Yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Andy. Number 6 would be pleased to. Number 6, pleased to. Anybody? Pleased to meet you. Okay, pleased to meet you. And there's something there. What was there? I'll tell you what. I'll play the first recording, listen to it, oopsie, and see if you were right. Here we go.
2. Hello, Paula. Nice to see you again. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. Glad you could make it to our kick-off meeting today. Did you find a parking space all right?
Yes, no problem at all. But the weather's terrible, so it took us longer than usual to drive down.
I'm afraid you've brought the rain with you from the north. It's usually warm and sunny here.
Oh, I hope not. George, have you met my colleague, Juliet Strauss?
Hello, I'm George Frank. Pleased to meet you.
Juliet Strauss. Pleased to meet you too.
So yes, at the beginning you got that right earlier. Oh, sorry.
2.
We got
Hello, Paula.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. Glad you could make it to our kick-off meeting today. Did you find a parking space all right?
Yes, no problem at all. But the weather's terrible, so it took us longer than usual to drive down.
I'm afraid you've brought the rain with you from the north. It's usually warm and sunny here.
Oh, I hope not. George, have you met my colleague, Juliet Strauss?
Hello, I'm George Frank. Pleased to meet you.
Juliet Strauss. Pleased to meet you too.
There you go. So that's for that bit. Pleased to meet you too. Pleased to meet you. Pleased to meet you too. Now, just out of the look, can you send me just you don't have to write a long sentence, but just with a few words. What are 2 topics that they talk about? So they're meeting again and do what we call small talk. What do they talk about in their small talk? Did somebody get that? Like, it's not all business. A lot about business. It's not just about communicating. It's about connecting. And to connect, sometimes we engage in what we call small talk. We talk about other things than business. We talk about our days and so on. So what are 2 things that they talk about during that little conversation? Did somebody happen to hear that? Write me the words on the chat. What are 2 things they talk about in this conversation that are not business oriented? Let me play it one more time.
2. Hello, Paula. Nice to see you again. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. Glad you could make it to our kick-off meeting today. Did you find a parking space all right?
Yes, no problem at all. But the weather's terrible, so it took us longer than usual to drive down.
I'm afraid you've brought the rain with you from the north. It's usually warm and sunny here.
Oh, I hope not. George, have you met my colleague, Juliet Strauss?
Hello, I'm George Frank. Pleased to meet you.
Juliet Strauss.
All right.
Pleased to meet you too.
I got no answers on the chat here. What are 2 things that they talked about that are not business related? Anyone?
They're talking about the parking spots and the weather.
Yes, exactly. So he's asking her if she found a parking spot, and then they talk pleasantly about the weather and so on. So it's just small talk. Unimportant, but it's very important to make a connection between people. Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Now we got the second bit, 7 and 8. What words would go in there? Blah, blah, me, my colleague Andrew Jacob, and how, blah, blah, blah. What do you think goes there? What's in 7? Can you text that? What is 7? What is 8? Anybody know? I'll tell you when to play it. If here goes in there, type it in the chat and let us know. Here we go.
Three.
Good to see you again, Steve.
Hello, Paula. Good to see you too.
How are you settling into your new job?
Well, it's a lot of work, but I'm really enjoying it.
That's great. Oh, Steve, let me introduce my colleague, Andre Jacob.
Hello, Steve. I'm Andre. How do you do?
How do you do, Andre? I think I've spoken to you a few times on the phone.
That's right. It's nice to meet you in person.
Right. Yes. Number 7 and number 8. Number 7 is let me introduce. Yeah.
3.
My colleague to introduce someone.
Good to see you again, Steve.
Hello, Paula. Good to see you too.
To introduce someone is when you meet someone, you want to introduce them. Let me introduce my colleague. And I'm going to focus here one thing. This word here, colleague. Okay? Do not confuse it with a word. I know that Indonesians struggle with these two words. You have college, okay, which is college. That's a school, an institution, right? College. And then we got the word colleague. You notice here, G-U-E, when you have a U after the G, it means it's a hard G sound, okay? When you have a G followed by E or I, so a letter G here, followed by E or I, it sounds J, college. But when it's followed by U, it's G. So we say colleague, colleague, okay? So that's an important one that many people make have a difficulty with. Colleague, okay? Colleague. So that's the way this is up. Now the I is a bit long. Colleague, something like that, okay? Colleague, okay? So that's one important. All right. So yeah, let me introduce my colleague, Andrew Jacob. And then, yes, number 8, it's how do you do? How do you do? Now, what's the answer to how do you do? Does anyone know? If somebody says to you, how do you do? What do you answer? You see, if I say, how are you? You say, I'm fine, thank you. If I say, how are things? You say, I'm fine. But if I say, how do you do? The answer to this is, how do you do? Just that. The answer to how do you do is, how do you do? It's not how I'm fine. I know. Thank you very much for trying. It's not how I'm fine. It's how do you do? It's more of a British thing. North Americans don't usually use how do you do. They'll say, how are you? And there the answer is, I'm fine. All right. But the British tend to say, how do you do? And the answer is, how do you do? Just that. Don't ask me why. There's no meaning to it. It's simply the way it's done. Somebody says, how do you do to you? You answer, how do you do? Somebody says, how are you? Then you say, I'm fine, thank you. How about you? I'm fine, thank you. And you, like that. All right? But how do you do? Answer is, how do you do? Okay? That's one that many people struggle with because they think that how do you do is a question, which technically it is. But what is the answer to how do you do? It's not, I'm doing well. It's not, I'm fine. It's just simply, how do you do? It's a term that we use to greet somebody we just met. Okay? It kind of means like pleased to meet you. How do you do? It almost means nice meeting you. Okay? It's something we say to replace. It's nice meeting you. I'm pleased to meet you. We say that instead of saying, we say, how do you do? All right? So it's just a replacement for pleased to meet you or for nice meeting you. All right? Good. Nice work. Nice work. Now, we'll go from this to more formal introductions. Right. So when we have formal introductions, well, what are things you should do or say when you meet someone new in a business environment? Now, I'd like everybody to maybe write me a short sentence of what you should say or do when you meet someone new in a business environment. You walk in this office building, maybe for a job, or maybe for an interview, or maybe it's your first day at work, and you meet someone new. What are some things you should say and do? Okay, so please write, everybody, I encourage you, write me a few words. What do you say? Say this and do this. See if you can come up with a few different ideas. Things you say, things you do. Go on, please write me some ideas on the chat. What are things you should do or say when you meet someone in a business environment? In English, obviously. But many of these translate to the same in Bahasa. If you walk in an office building in Indonesia, there are many things that you will do very similarly. Any idea? Let me give you a tip there. Like, how should you address the people you meet? What should you call them? Okay? We're going to watch a video. I didn't get any answer to my question there, so I'm going to go straight to the video. We're going to watch a video, okay? And okay, there you go. Him, say hi. Nice one. Yes, you could say hi, but how do you do it? That's the point. We want to say hi to people we meet, but how do we do it? We're going to watch a short video about formal introductions. Okay, so that's how people meet formally. Now we're going to see something about what not to do, and we're going to see something about what and how to do it. Okay, so yes, I got somebody here saying offer a professional greeting. That's what I'm asking, but what is a professional greeting? And that's what we'll see. How to do it. You meet someone new in an office environment. It could be at a conference. It could be at a meeting. You walk in there, you see this person, you don't know who they are. They're wearing a suit or they're wearing like some formal clothes. You don't know who they are. How do you approach them? And what do you say to them? Somebody says here, greet them, Alia, greet them, introduce yourself, and shake hands. There you go. That's a very nice thing. How do you do that, though? So let's have a look at this short video here. And write down, you can write them straight in the chat when you see what they do it, what they should do and what they shouldn't do. So we try to answer, how should you address the people you meet? What are things you should do or say when you meet someone? Let's have a look at the video. Here we go.
An assured self-introduction conveys an impression of executive presence. It's a necessary prelude to conversation when people first meet. Your own self-assured introduction provides an immediate return on investment and plays an essential role in advancing your business relationships.
The way you introduce yourself sets the tone of a relationship. Okay, Tom, you're at a company function, you see Michelle, and you approach her to introduce yourself.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Tom. Hey, how you doing? I'm Tom. Hey, how you doing? I'm Tom.
Does this look good? Please comment. What do you think? Okay. How about you send me a thumbs up or a thumbs down? What do you say? Is this a good way, these three there, good way to meet someone? Do you agree or not? And how could you do it better? Oh, we got thumbs down here from Octavia, Octa. One thumb down. Anybody else? Okay, Argan, thumb down. Okay. They're not professional. Well, the lady, I'm not sure, but the man, why is he not? Okay, why is it not good? Can somebody spell out to me, what is he doing wrong? Okay, thumbs down, thumbs down. That's good. You all agree it's a bad way to do it. Now, why? What is it that he's doing wrong and how could he do it better? Yes. He looked a bit too informal, right? You're right. Somebody, Andy says, looked like he was greeting a close friend. So that looks a bit too informal. Yeah. How could he do it better? What would he have to do to meet someone new like that in a business context? It's more suitable from friends, yes, than for superiors or I mean, we don't know. He doesn't know who she is. Maybe she's a superior, maybe she's a colleague, but we don't know yet. So, but yes, thanks, Felita. Yeah, Ringo, you don't agree? What could they do better? How could he do this better? Not suitable, okay. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's continue, and they're going to tell us here what are things he's doing wrong and how he could do it better. So pay attention and see this. It's going to mention 3 things. See if you can spot the 3 things that they're going to say that he should do better. Here we go.
Self-introduction is your opportunity to present a
Tom.
The self-introduction is your opportunity to present a polished and professional image. It works in harmony with your handshake. Now, let's see how Tom scored. No handshake. Tom should have extended his hand and initiated a handshake. No full name. Tom should have given his first and last name. No details about himself. Tom should have provided some brief details. What do you want people to know about you? Make it relevant to the event. Even in today's more casual business atmosphere, your introduction creates a powerful first impression. So Tom, as you approach Michelle, get ready to shake hands as you give her your full name, your department, and some relevant background information about yourself. And this time, do it at a leisurely pace.
Hi, I'm Tom Preston from the IT department. I work with Pat Stern, and if you need any tech assistance whatsoever, I'm the one you're going to be calling.
That was great, Tom. Now...
All right. So there's 3 things that they say you should do. Can somebody list me the 3 things that he should do, that you should do when you introduce yourself? 3 simple things. And again, I recognize this is more for a Western environment. But what are 3 things that they recommend you should do when you meet someone in a business environment? And what should you do when you first meet them? Please, I encourage you to write me in the chat. Write me your answers in your chat. What are 3 things you should do? What do they talk about in the video? Please. If you want to unmute yourself and just tell me, you can do that too. Okay, we got somebody. Safira says, shake hands. Talk about well, not talk about, but say your full name. Yes. And a firm handshake, state your full name and relevant details about yourself. Very good, Okta. Yes, introduce about relevant background in business. Exactly. When they say relevant for that event. Okay? So basically, you don't walk in there and start talking about yourself and how great you are and how you closed 2 deals with that company. No, what's relevant to that meeting? That could be your position. That could be what you're doing at that meeting or what you're doing at that conference. Okay? Could be the company you're working for. If you're meeting at a conference, maybe there's people from various companies. For something like this, you might just say where you work or your position where you work. But if you're at an internal meeting, then they know where you work in the same company, but then you'll be telling them perhaps what department you work in and what you do or what you'll be doing at the meeting. So it's got to be relevant to the meeting. So yes, let's have a look at a few of these there. Right. Shake hand. Now, I do know that in Indonesia, especially between genders, like between men and women, very often a handshake is not the norm. So I had to learn that the hard way. Now, when I go in a business environment and meet someone, a female, I normally don't extend my handshake because I do know in the case of many people, the handshake is not appropriate. However, if you'll be speaking English, it's probably because you're not with Indonesians. And you cannot expect every foreigner you meet at a conference to know the norms of your country. If you go at an international conference in Singapore or in New York or in London, chances are you will meet people that do not know anything about the customs and culture of Indonesia. And they will go to you and they will extend their hand. And probably the right thing to do in this context would be to shake their hand. If you are in a international business context, it's probably the right thing to do. Some people might take it negatively if you refuse to shake their hands. However, if you are not, I'm speaking more for the ladies there, if you're not comfortable with shaking a gentleman's hand, it would be perfectly acceptable when somebody, a man extends his hand towards you to shake your hand, to simply go like this. They would immediately stand back and understand. People who work in international business, who travel the world, understand usually that there are differences in culture. And if a man from Germany approaches a lady from Saudi who wears a hijab and he extends his hand and she goes like this, he would understand and would probably just back away a little bit and do the same. They would not take offense is what I'm saying. So if you do not feel comfortable with shaking hands, don't do it. Just basically go like this and they will understand. However, don't be offended if they offer their hand because, as I say, most people in the West are not necessarily familiar with the customs and traditions of Indonesia, right? So the handshake now, how do you shake hand? If you're going to shake hand, I have seen in Indonesia, even among men, they'll shake hand and have a very soft, gentle handshake. That is often seen as weakness if you go to Western countries such as America or the United Kingdom or Germany. So that's why people normally recommend a strong or a firm handshake. That doesn't mean to squeeze the hand very hard, but it means to have something solid with intent, not just soft and limp, but to close your hand around the hand of the person. Shake once or twice and then release. Okay? So a handshake does not go on forever. You put your hand in, you close it, not so tight, just a little bit, and then once or twice, and then you release. And when you release, the other party should release as well, and that's your handshake. All right? So again, as I said, I know it's not acceptable in many places, but that's the way it's done in the West. If you went to Japan, in Japan they bow. Very often they don't do handshake. So in Japan they just automatically bow, which if that's what you get, then you bow. But since we're talking here more about Western and English culture, handshake is standard among men, among women, and between genders. There's usually not a difference. If you're a woman in America and you meet a business partner, you'll give a handshake. If you're a man in France and you meet a woman, there'll be a handshake. Now, some countries might go even further. If you go to Eastern Europe, for instance, very often they will have a hug, which is surprising sometimes. Don't worry. I even saw in Romania, when I was in Romania, the norm over there when a man meets a woman is to take her hand and to kiss it. Don't be offended. It's the way they do it. They mean nothing by it. It's their way to show their appreciation. Okay, so, but the standard now international to meet people is a handshake, a firm handshake, one or two shake, release. Okay, it's a good idea when you travel for business especially, to read up a little bit on the country where you're going to find out what the customs there might be. Okay. Now, after the handshake, what do we have? We have, yes, somebody mentioned full name. Yeah. I know in Indonesia, you often have only one name. Or sometimes you have many names. And sometimes when my students introduce themselves to me, they list all of their names very fast. And I have no idea. I didn't understand a thing. So I would recommend maybe if you have 5 or 6 names, it's not necessary to list all 5 or 6 names. I would recommend if you have more than one name to list your first name, the name that you use every day. So if the name that you use every day is Indra, then use Indra. Even if you have a Mohammed or in front of something like that, maybe use the name that you use every day, Indra. And if you have the name of your father or another name after that, use that as your second name. So you might have, let's say, for instance, Indra Harsoyo. And that would be, okay, hello, my name is Indra Harsoyo. People in the West expect 2 names because most Western cultures have your usual name, the name that is given, we call it your given name, and they have the family name or your last name. And usually when we introduce ourselves to someone new in a business context, we will say both names. So when I introduce myself, I say, hello, I'm Daniel Arsenault. Daniel, my first name, my given name, and Arsenault, my father's last name, which is my family name. So I know Indonesia's got different conventions for names, and therefore, if you only have one name, it's okay to say, hello, my name is Dewi. It's fine. However, don't be surprised if they ask you, oh, and what's your last name? So it does happen. I noticed a lot of Indonesian international business people will take a second name because in many instances, I've encountered this in the past, even for transfer money, there's a place to put the first name and the last name. And if you only have one name, they can't accommodate. So people would use maybe their father's name. So if you only have one name, let's say, and let's say your father's name was, I don't know, what's a good, or your mother's name. If your mother's name is Lestari, and you've got one name, let's say your name is Dew, you could say name is Dewi Lestari. Use your mother's name just to make it easier to fit in with the culture out there. They expect 2 names. Okay. So it's something to consider if you do international business. All right. So once you've got the full name, something. If you're in a more informal setting, it's okay to just give your usual name. You don't have to go and say your full name. My name is Mohammed Indra, la da 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 da. It's okay to just say, hello, my name is Indra. And just that and if you use a nickname, you tell them the name you want them to use. If you want them to call you Mr., then you introduce yourself as this. Hello, I am Mr. Arsenault. If somebody says to you, I am Mr. Arsenault, you call him Mr. Arsenault. They have told you by introducing themselves, they expect you to call them Mr. Arsenault. But if they say, my name is Daniel, they're telling you, you can address them as Daniel. So you have to watch for these cues. People will introduce you. Like I had a friend in Canada. She was the personal assistant to the president of a company. Now, his name was Mark Chamberlain. But whenever he met people in the company, hello, I'm Mark. So all of the people in this company called him Mark. Nobody called him Mr. President. Nobody called him Mr. Chamberlain. They all called him Mark because he introduced himself as Mark. He liked to have a work environment that was informal. However, whenever they went to board meetings with people from other companies, then his staff, I'll call them Mr. Chamberlain within that settings. So again, within a company, there are different cultures that you need to follow, to know and follow. Okay? Yes. All right, so that's about the name. And the third thing they mention, speak at a, well, okay, they say speak at a leisurely pace and stay calm and don't rush, so don't go too fast, especially for Indonesians with lots of long names. If you're going to list all your names, say them slowly. You know your names, you're used to it, but for a foreigner, the Indonesian names are difficult to understand. We don't know them. It's not like John, Mary, Roger. These are common names to us. But when you have names like Larasati, whoa, I've never heard that in my life. And if you say that with another 2 or 3 names that are difficult, I have no idea what you're talking about. So speak slowly, don't rush, and give your name. Okay? Then, the last thing is to give details, relevant details about yourself. Relevant means depending on where you are. You're at an international conference, you could say the company you work for. Oh, hello, I'm Daniel Arsenault. I work for IBM. I'm a consultant for this company. I'm an accountant for that company. But for internal meetings, then you might just tell them who you are in that company. Oh, hello, I'm Danielle. I work in the IT department. Like that. Okay. If you meet someone for the first time for, let's say, an interview, hello, my name is Daniel Arsenault. I'm here for the interview. You tell them what you're there for. Okay. So a little bit of background. Yes, hello, my name is Daniel Arsenault. I've applied for a job at blah, 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 and I'm here for the interview. You tell them what you're there for. Any questions on this? Okay. Let's move on to the next bit. A few tips. Okay, sorry. A few tips about introduction. I know there's some mistakes that Indonesians do quite often. And so I've been here for a long time. I've been here for 25 years. So I've heard a lot of different ways that people will talk about their job. I've isolated a few standard mistakes that Indonesians do, and I'll let you know how to do it better. So very often when I ask people about their job, they'll say, I'm quality control, or I'm marketing, or I'm finance. These are not jobs. These are departments. So you're not quality control. You'd say, I'm a quality control clerk. I'm a quality control inspector. I'm a quality control manager. Okay. You're not marketing. You could say, I work in marketing. You could say, I'm the marketing manager. When you say, I'm finance, you work in the finance department, but then you could say, I'm an accountant. I work in accounts receivable, so on. So quality control, I work in the quality control department. I'm in marketing, I'm an SEO specialist in the marketing department. That's your job. I'm a or an. And then you say your job title and you can say what department. So you're not marketing. You're an SEO specialist in the marketing department. I'm the finance manager. You're not finance. You are the finance manager, or you're an accountant in finance. Okay? All right. Yes. Yeah, exactly. You can write your question. We will have a question section. I'll answer the questions later. I'm almost done with this bit. I've got another 10 minutes and then we have some questions. All right. So another bit here about the job. Some people say I'm a staff. Well, if you say I'm a staff is actually a stick because staff is uncountable. Okay. Staff is not a person. If you say I'm a staff, you can say I'm a staff at PLN. I don't know. I'm an accountant for Indo Food is a better way to say that. But a staff is not really a good way to talk about that. I'm a clerk. Yes. I'm a clerk in marketing. I work from Mandiri Bank. These are ways. I'm a staff. No, I'm an employee. Actually, this one here, I forgot to. This is not. It should be I'm an employee at PLN. Another way, because the word staff It's a group noun. It means the entire workforce of a company. So example, the marketing department has a staff of 56 employees. Okay, you're not a staff, you're a clerk, you're an employee of, you work for, you work in, okay? So that's how you say. This top one here, it should be, I'm an employee at, there you go, I'm an employee. So we don't say I'm a staff. We can say I'm an employee, but we don't say I'm a staff, okay? Instead of that, you say your job. I'm an accountant. I'm a clerk. Clerk is somebody who works in the office. A job that's not defined. You don't have a title, but you're one of the many people working in the office. I'm a clerk in marketing. Or I work in marketing. Okay? So that's how we address this one here. Another mistake that is often done has to do with this here. People say, I work in Sinarmas. You don't work in Mandiri. You don't work in. You work at. I work at Sinarmas. You work in a department. You work in an industry, but you work at Sinarmas. You're an employee at Sinarmas. Okay? You work for Sinarmas. I work for this company. Okay? You work in real estate, in an industry. In real estate, I work in marketing. I work in sales. In, when you talk about the industry. But when you talk about the company, at or for. You can work in a department. I work in the marketing department at Sinarmas. Okay? So I don't work in Sinarmas, I work at Sinarmas. All right. Another mistake that is often done, my work is a teacher. People will say, oh, so what do you do? That's a standard way to ask for a job. What do you do? And when people say, what do? You don't say, my work is a teacher. You say, I am a teacher. And you need the other. You don't say, I'm teacher. I'm a teacher. If you have a job that's specific, I work as a teacher, yeah. You could say, my work involves teaching. All of these are correct. You know, what do you do? What's your job? Okay, all of these are correct. But if you are the one, like I'm the English teacher. If I meet somebody in a school, they say, oh, what do you do? I'm the English teacher at that school. I'm not a teacher, I'm the English teacher specifically. But usually for jobs, we say a or an. I'm a teacher, I'm an accountant, I'm an engineer, okay? When you talk about your job, you don't say my work is teacher, you say I'm a teacher, all right? Another thing that happens often, I joined with. When you say, I joined with Google since 2022, that is wrong in so many ways. Here's a few different ways you could say that nicely. I joined Google. You don't join with, you join. Even when you want your friends to join you, you don't say join with us at the restaurant. You say join us at the restaurant. We don't join with.
Excuse me, Daniel.
Yes.
5 minutes left.
Yep.
5 minutes left.
Yep.
Thank you.
So I joined Google in 2022. You could say, I have been with Google for 5 years. I have been with Google. Okay. You could also say, I have worked at Google since 2021. Okay. I have been with, I joined Google. I've been with for 5 years. I worked at since. These are ways that you can talk about how long you've been at a company. Here's another one. I ever work in a bank. I know that's a standard because in Bahasa you think that ever is pernah, sudah pernah, yeah? It's not. My advice to you, never use ever. You don't need it. And the way that most Indonesians use it is wrong. I worked in a bank. I work in a bank. Don't use ever. You can say, I have worked in a bank, present perfect. You could say, I have experience working for a bank, yeah. You could say, I used to work at a bank. Yes. But don't say ever. That's always wrong. The only way you can use ever is probably in a question or negative, you know. Have you ever been to Paris? But it's not, you could say, have you been to Paris? It means the same thing. You don't need ever. Negative, You could say, don't ever use ever. But you could also say, don't use ever, So you don't need it. Don't use it. Because many Indonesians think it's pernah. It's not pernah. Okay? All right. So since we had only, we're reaching the end now, we're going to switch to the question and answer. So I don't see any questions in the chat. Okay, I got one here from, okay, I got from Safira. Safira says, let me introduce myself. My name is Safira Nurida, and I would like to ask, how can we avoid feeling embarrassed to introducing ourselves first at a formal event? Okay, I'm going to tell you, Safira, what I told my daughter. My daughter is 22 years old. She's just turned 22. She studies political science at Udayana in Bali. And ever since she was growing up, she always feels very, very shy and very nervous about meeting new people. And the thing, tell yourself that everybody in that room feels the same way. And ask yourself, Safira, if you're standing there in a room and somebody comes to you to introduce themselves, how does that make you feel? It makes you feel happy because they came to you. You didn't have to go to them. And then you're happy to talk to them. So the same thing apply if you approach someone, chances are they're a bit shy and nervous. And then when you go to them and talk to them, they will be happy that you talk to them. Whenever I'm in a crowd, I tell myself that. I see people and I see somebody standing alone there and I go and talk to them. Hello, how are you? I'm Daniel Arsenault. I'm blah. And I talk to them. And they light up. They're so happy that somebody approached them. Okay? So that's my advice to you is ask yourself, if somebody right now, you're nervous, you're in that room, if somebody approached you to talk to you, how would you feel? You'd probably feel happy and relieved. Well, that's how they will feel when you approach them. And as long as you follow what we talked about today, introduce yourself politely, handshake or whichever way you want, and say your full name and say what you're doing there, then there should be a problem. It's a good idea to have a few questions. We didn't talk about small talk yet. I was going to go into that. But, small talk, you can talk about the weather. You could talk about the meeting. Oh, so what are you doing here? Or you can ask them about themselves. If you've read, there's a book written by Dale Carnegie that's called How to Make Friends and Influence People. Lovely book. And that book talks about how people love to talk about themselves. So if you're shy, just make sure you have one or two questions about them and ask them about their job. Oh, how do you like working for that company? And then they will be glad to talk to you. Okay? So that's my advice. I told that to my daughter. You're nervous. You still approach people. They will feel happy. And if you don't want to do all the talking, don't do the talking. Ask them about themselves. They will enjoy talking about themselves. Okay? So have a few questions about them. Hello, my name is Daniel Arsenault. I work for Cecia. I'm an English teacher. Oh, really? You work at Erlanga. How do you like Erlanga? You ask them about their company, their work. Okay? I hope this answers your question, Safira. Then we got Eki. Eki, sorry to bother you, Mr. Daniel. I'm really curious about this. What's the proper way to address our superiors or co-workers? Is it okay to just use their first name? Yeah, well, that, again, I mentioned earlier about the company culture. You will know when you work at a company. The example I gave you earlier about this company where my friend worked, in that company, the boss didn't mind that his employee called him Mark, his first name. He was okay with that. So you'd have the janitor saying, hey, Mark, how are you today? And Mark would say, hey, Joe, how you doing? It was very informal. But I know that in Indonesia and in Asia in general, people tend to be very formal at work. So my advice to you is when you start working for a company, always be very polite and very formal until somebody says, oh, no, you can just call me Daniel. They will tell you. I would tell you, if you come to me and say, Mr. Arsenault, blah, 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 I would say, no, call me Daniel. So you will learn about the company culture, but it's never wrong to be formal. So when you are formal, you're always right. So never assume it's informal. Always assume it's formal. Start with very formal and then follow people's cues. If you're the only one calling everybody Mr. and Miss, eventually somebody will say to you, oh, just call me John. And then call him John from that point on. Okay, follow the norm of the company. All right? I hope this answers your question, Eki.
Excuse me, Daniel.
Yes?
Could I help you to read the questions?
You can.
Okay.
Or sure.
Okay.
We're going to go to Deborah's question.
Yeah. Deborah. What if you are dealing with clients with special needs, such as those with speech impairment? Special needs, the client there.
Yeah. Well, that's always an issue, not just in across languages, but even me as an English speaker. If I meet someone with a speech impairment, it's always a difficulty as well, especially if the speech impairment makes them difficult to understand. I wish I had some advice for you with that. But I'll tell you a bit of my story, though. Many years ago, I was in Spain studying to become an English teacher. And I met this gentleman. His name was Gary, and he was from Manchester. That's in northern England. He spoke English, but the accent in northern England is very, very difficult to understand. It's a bit like a Scottish accent. And my friend Gary, his accent was very, very strong. So whenever he spoke to me, I could not understand anything he said. And I would do a lot of nodding and smiling. But eventually I started asking him to repeat, and I would apologize. Oh, so sorry, Gary. I didn't get that. And I would tell him, I'm just a poor Canadian. I don't understand how people from, and I turned it into a joke. And he was a bit upset sometimes, but overall he understood. And over the months, over the weeks, I got better at hearing him speak and at understanding what he said. To the point where right now, if I hear somebody with a strong Scottish accent, I can get it right away because my ears tuned into that. So I know it's not an impairment, it's an accent, but the same thing would apply. If somebody has a speech impediment or something like that, they are probably familiar with that. They probably know that for some people it's difficult to understand. So all I'd say is remain respectful, and it's no problem to ask them to repeat. And if you still don't understand a word or something, you could ask them, oh, how do you spell that? Okay, that's what I would recommend. But in any way, it's always a bit difficult. Just be very polite, be very respectful, and it's okay to ask people to repeat. Oh, you can then blame yourself, say, oh, my English is not very good. Could you repeat this, please? And this way, like I told my friend, I'm just a Canadian. I basically said it was my fault, not his. So I'd say the same way. If you speak with somebody with a speech impairment, you could say, oh, my English is not very good. Can you please say it again slowly? And that might make it better. I hope this is helpful to you, Deborah. Now we have, who else? Okay, that's it. We've got
from Alia.
Alia, yes, Alia.
How can we make sure our tone sounds polite and professional when speaking in English?
Well, there's a few things that I'd say you have to. I mean, learning the language is definitely an issue. There's a lot of how could I say? There's a lot of things that people say sometimes that are offensive, and they don't mean to be offensive. For instance, we have some words that we use in English, like to show interest, like really. Okay, that's polite. If you tell me something that is, I would say unbelievable, but I'd say more like extraordinary. If you tell me, oh, I'm an airline pilot. Oh, really? I'm showing interest. So really does not mean, are you lying? It means I'm impressed. But I've had Indonesians who would say, are you sure? So if I say to you, I fly airplanes, and you say, are you sure? It's almost like you're calling me a liar. You see what I mean? So it's knowing a way to avoid being impolite is knowing these little markers and how to use them. Don't try to invent the wheel. Don't try to translate it from your language. Really is really how interesting is how interesting. Don't try to change that. These words are the way they are, and everybody uses them. So if you show interest, oh, really? How interesting. and that's fine. Don't try to change it, make it into your language, because then it might come out like, are you sure? And that sounds insulting. Another one is never mind. Instead of saying no worries, no problems, some people say never mind. Never mind is very dismissive. It sounds almost impolite. So a lot of it has to do with learning the language and learning the little intricacies. But if you're in doubt, then just speak formally. That's always good. If you try to go informal, sometimes it might sound a bit rude. So if you're in doubt, try to be very formal. And Indonesians are very good at being formal. Okay?
Okay, thank you. The next
that's for-
questions. What is the biggest mistake people when introducing themselves in a business setting? The biggest mistake introducing themselves.
Well, I think people tend to be very nervous in a business setting. And when you're nervous, you tend to speak fast. And I think that's a mistake, because when you speak fast, people sometimes you're going to trip in your own words, and people listening to you cannot understand what you say. So my advice against this would be, before you go in, big breath, relax, and slow yourself down. Make a note in your mind not to go too fast. And then you walk in there. Hello, my name is Daniel Arsenault. I'm the English teacher at Stacia. Nice to meet you. Yes, so what do you do around here? And be very deliberate. Another thing that people do is they talk about themselves because they feel like they have to talk. And when you talk about yourself, other people are less interested. So, as I said earlier, ask people about themselves. Don't talk about yourself, because then it sounds like, oh, he just never shuts up, always talking about. It's okay to ask them, oh, so what do you do here? Oh, do you like the company? And so on. So ask many questions. That's what I'd say. When you're nervous about introducing yourself, stick to business, your full name, good handshake, what you do, listen to them, and then if there's a silence, you don't have to fill it by talking about yourself. You can just ask them a question. Oh, so how long have you been working here? And then listen. And then ask again. Oh, and do you like it? Oh, really? What department do you work in? Oh, that's interesting. And you ask them. People love to talk about. So you ask them about themselves, and they will talk to you. And then the onus is off you. You don't need to be careful. They are talking to you. I hope that's helpful. Kurota?
Okay, so it means that we need to learn the culture ourselves, Daniel, especially when
Well,
we meet our foreigner, right?
Look, I'll give you an example of how culture is very important. When I first came here 25 years ago, coming from Canada, when you pay for something, I would open my wallet. Let's see here. I got a wallet here. So I would open my wallet, take the money, and pay. You see, I'm a right-handed person. I
Oh,
just pay with the right hand.
Right.
I did not know that in Indonesia it was wrong. And I have a friend who grabbed my hand and says, don't do that. It's insulting. And I'm like, what? I had to learn. Now, when I take money out of my wallet, I put money in my left hand, and then I pay. Sorry, sorry, I got it wrong. Yeah, I got the hands wrong there. Yeah. But you know what I mean. Yeah.
No,
So
I mean,
this I'm doing it the right way. But yeah, I used to pay with my left hand.
left hand. Okay.
Yeah, because I would put my wallet in my pocket. But now I take the money with my right hand, and I pay with the right hand, and I keep the wallet. I don't pay with the left hand anymore. Sorry, I got it. So yeah. But the thing is, I did not know about that. I had to learn here. Now, when I travel somewhere, I try to read up. There's so many things with AI. It's easy. You just go to AI, you say, I'm a traveler from Indonesia. I'm traveling to the Czech Republic. What are some things I should be? And they will tell you a list of cultural things about the Czech Republic, about wherever you're going. So I would recommend, before you go anywhere, find out about the culture. If you're going somewhere at a conference like Singapore, where there's people from every country, well, then it's not so important anymore, because it's all business people. They're all world travelers. Chances are people just be very business and then it doesn't come into question. But yeah, if I travel anywhere, I always read a bit about the country I'm going to because it's me, I don't want to be stuck in a situation where I'm paying with the left hand in a country where it's a sin. So it's up to you to be prepared. When you go to a meeting, you make your preparation for the meeting. When you travel to on a business trip to a country, you have to be prepared. It's not on them, it's on you. So make sure you prepare yourself. Okay? I hope this answers your question.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
Okay.
Okay, before we go to another one, I would like to remind you that you need to fill in the attendance, guys. So please don't forget to fill in the attendance, which I already sent it into chat. Yeah. So you need to fill in attendance. Yeah. Don't forget that. Okay. We will need to have two or more three questions. Maybe you can unmute yourself so you can speak to Daniel directly rather than writing in the chat. Yeah. Maybe one of you can unmute yourself and try to ask some questions. Yeah. Only one questions, one person. A simple questions. Yeah. Maybe you can practice your speaking. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's a good idea.
Anyone want to ask a question to Daniel about business introduction?
I think you're very shy.
Yeah. Feel free to ask. Yeah. Daniel has a lot of experience in business introduction here. Okay. While waiting for the others to ask the questions, I just also wondering about the use of how do you do, Daniel? Is it the same when American or British using how do you do, or is it the same?
Americans don't use it.
Oh,
it's a British thing.
Oh, that's British.
The first time I heard that is when I went to Europe. In Canada, we don't use it. In North America, we don't use it. And when I heard how do you do the first time, I didn't know what to say. I said I'm fine. And then because I've been teaching English for 25 years, and I had to learn the customs of various countries, England, Australia, and so on, and learn the lingo and learn the ways. And I did learn that, the answer to how do you do is, how do you do? And so I had to learn it myself because, yes, it is confusing. It feels like, how do you do? It feels like, how are you? It's not. So the answer to how do you do, it's a British thing. And the answer is, how do you do? It almost means like nice meeting you. So I'd like to meet you to meet the manager of marketing, Mr. John Johnson. How do you do? How do you do? Like that. It's like nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. That's kind of what it means, more than how are you? Okay.
Okay. No questions, guys. No more questions. Okay, this is the questions from Asri Fitriani. Yeah? First impressions happen very quickly, but workplace cultures can be different. How can we adjust our level of formality when introduce ourselves without sounding too stiff or too casual? How can we adjust?
As I said earlier, it's never bad to be formal. You see, I come from a French background. And in French, a bit like in Bahasa Jawa, you have different levels of formality. You got informal, which is tu, and we have formal, which is vous. And nowadays, the younger people usually use the informal all the time. They walk in a shop and they talk to the shopkeeper and they say the informal way. It's a bit like the difference between Anda and Kamu. You have that in Indonesian as well. So now the young people, with that example, young people in French, they use the Kamu a lot more than the Anda. I don't like that. Like, for instance, I have some of my young cousins who would call my mom and dad Kamu. But for me, I still call my mom and dad Anda because I'm an older generation and it was better that way. We were more formal back then. Maybe today's a bit like that. Maybe children today, their mom and dad Kamu. Maybe. But if you go back 10, 15 years, I guarantee you that young people always said anda to their mom and dad, you know? So it's a matter of, it's generational as well as cultural. And my thing I said earlier, it's never wrong to be polite. It's never wrong to be formal. Now, if somebody tells you, it's okay, just call me John, and you keep on calling them Mr., then, now, if somebody tells you it's okay to be informal, then you can switch to informal. Or again, follow the culture. But initially, if you are formal, it's never wrong. I'm always formal at the beginning. When I have classes with my students, business classes, and I walk in a company, I don't know if my students are the president of the company or if they are the security guard. I don't know. And I'm formal with all of them. I call them sir and ma'am and miss, you know. And then eventually, as the classes evolve, then I tell them, call me Daniel, and they'll tell me, oh, call me John, call me, and then I will relax. But I like to always start formal because it's never wrong to be formal. And that's what I'd recommend. And with time, then you get more familiar with people and then you learn the culture of the company. I hope that answers your question, Asri.
Thank you very much, Daniel. The next question
Azara.
actually goes to Octaviansa, yeah, because Azahra, the questions is not related, but it's okay. I will try to read it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. In here, Azahra said that when I want to communicate using English, sometimes their friends make fun of me because my grammar is so bad, and she feel embarrassed. How do I handle it? Because I'm afraid to communicate with someone using English.
Azara, saya tinggal di Indonesia 25 tahun. Dan sekarang bisa bicara bahasa Indonesia, tapi masih kurang, masih salah kadang-kadang. Kamu, Anda, you find that funny? Do you laugh at me right now? Oke, mungkin kadang-kadang saya bilang sesuatu dan orang, tapi nggak apa-apa karena paling penting komunikasi. If people want to giggle, it's okay. I speak 5 languages. So yes, I don't speak Bahasa perfectly, but I speak 5 languages. If somebody wants to mock me because I'm trying to speak in their language, they don't deserve my time. If people make fun of you because your English is not perfect, maybe they don't deserve your time. Maybe you have to hang out with people who will respect the fact that you try to speak in a language that is not yours. If you speak to me in English, even if your English is not perfect, I will never make fun of you because I respect that you try. And it's difficult learning a language. I know, I've had to learn. Okay? So you be strong, stand up for yourself. And if somebody makes fun of you, don't be embarrassed. Just ask them, how many languages do you speak? You know, you're making an effort. It's communication. People who make fun of you, they're immature and they don't deserve your time. That's my advice to you. Okay?
Okay, I think this is the last question, yeah, from Octaviansa. Yeah? Mr. Daniel, we have all had that moment where we shake hands and immediately forget the person name. What the most professional way to ask for it again without running the first impression?
That is the thing that you have to get used to. So to make a conscious effort to hear the person's name and in your mind instantly make a connection. I don't know, if somebody tells me his name is Jordan, I'll think, oh, he's very short. He's not like Michael Jordan, you know, the basketball. I make a connection. If somebody tells me her name is Zara, I'll think, oh, she's dressed very nice, like the store, Zara. You know, I make a mental connection. So that's very important. But I forget names too, especially when you are introduced to 10 people. And you know what? Everybody is human. We all make mistakes. And everybody is struggling with that. So tell yourself it's never wrong to say, oh, excuse me, what was your name again? Excuse me, what was your name again? That's a good way to ask. I do that very often. Oh, excuse me, what was your name again? Ah, so sorry. And then you learn it. Don't ask 3 times. So it's okay to say, excuse me, what was your name again? And you won't ruin that first impression. It's perfectly acceptable. But if you meet with just one person, and let's say he's the president of HR, not the manager of HR, and you're going there for a job, I would highly recommend you make an effort from the beginning to remember their name. And what you could do at that point is you can even write it down if you've got time. I do that sometimes. I have a little notebook that I carry, and if I meet people and I want to make sure, I write the name down. Just the act of writing it makes me remember it. And then if I do forget it, I can just pull out my paper and have a look. Of course, you have to do it discreetly. You can't do it while they're telling you. But nonetheless, after you, oh, hello, blah, blah, blah. Oh, your name is Zara. Nice to meet you, Zara. And then you can just write it down somewhere, Zara, the lady in green, as whatever. It's okay to do that, and then this way it'll come back. I often do that after a meeting with people I met, I just met. I'll go back home and I've got my little notebook and I'll write the name of the people. The tall man with the glasses, his name was John. The lady with blue, oh yeah, she has two children. We talked about her children. And then I'll write information that I can remember. That's a good exercise because it helps you remember things. And then it gets you accustomed as well to focus on these details, which can be very important in creating a business connection. Because the next time you meet that lady with the two children and you say, oh, hello, Zara, how are you? How are your kids? Did he recover? And people feel like, oh my gosh, he remembers me. And they feel great. And that's a great way. So it's good. You meet people like that. You go back to the hotel after the conference, you write the name, you write everything you remember about them. And this way it stays there. And when you meet them again, you might remember these little things and they'll be very happy to tell you about it. That's something else that I found little trick that I found in that book I told you about, how to make friends and influence people. I would highly recommend that as a reading. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you very much, Daniel, for those incredible insight and powerful answers. Yeah. So guys, please give your thumbs for our presentation today. 2 thumbs up, yeah, for you, Daniel. Okay, let me summarize first. Yeah, there are some difficulties when we meet for the first time in a business meetings. We need to use greetings and introduction, especially for the formal greeting. First, we need to shake hands firmly, and then second, say your full name, and the third one, speak at leisurely space, or you can say stay calm and don't be rushed. And the last one, tell details about your company, such as your position then. And then there's also some tips about talking about your job. First, don't say I'm a staff, yeah. And then second, I work in, and then I ever work, yeah. So don't say like that, yeah. So it's never right to be informal, yeah. It's never wrong to be informal. So I think
To be formal.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Never back to be formal. Yeah. Okay. Once again, thank you very much for your time, Daniel, and thank you very much for your response, guys, everyone. But before that, we need to take a picture first. So everyone need to turn on the camera, please. Yeah. This is for our record. So we need to have a camera. Yeah. Okay. That's one. Okay. Okay. I will take a picture from the first group here. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, the first group already. Wait a minute. Okay, and then the second group. 3, 2, 1. Okay, now the third group. Wait a minute. The third group. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much. And then the fourth group. Fourth group, where are you? There's many of you doesn't turn on your camera. Please turn on your camera. Come on, guys, turn on your camera, please. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, okay. The fourth group and the last group. Okay, last group. Some of you, all of you don't turn on your camera. Please turn on your camera first, yeah. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think today time is, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully we will meet again in the next webinar. Once again, thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you very much, Nazriela. Thank you very much, Bundanis, for our performance today. Hopefully next time. Oh, let's go to the Nazriela first. Yeah, sorry. Thank you very much, Nazriela.
All right, everyone, we have reached the end of our program. Thank you to our speaker, Mr. Daniel Arsenault, for sharing such expertise on business introduction in the workplace. Thank you to our moderator, and especially thank you to the all Stasia students for your enthusiastic participation. We hope you find today's topic useful for your personal and professional development. Don't forget to follow the Stasia Language Center for updates on our next webinar series. I'm Nazriela Feruzara, signing off. Have a productive Saturday, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Miss. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah.
Best of luck. Hope to see you next month, yeah?
See you next month. Yes.